If you've ever dealt with chronic gut issues, you know just how frustrating it can be. So today, we're going to talk about why that diagnosis of IBS might not be the end of the story. In fact, it could be the very beginning of finding real, lasting answers. Let's dig into how to turn that frustration into a roadmap for actually feeling better. Does this sound familiar? This is a phrase that registered dietitian Kelsey Essink says she hears constantly from new patients. It's that feeling of just giving up. After years of dealing with bloating, unpredictable digestion, and a list of trigger foods that seems to get longer and longer every single month, it's the feeling of being completely and utterly stuck. And that right there is the big idea we're exploring today. The whole point is to reframe this diagnosis. So instead of seeing IBS as some kind of life sentence, what if you saw it as the first clue in a detective story about your own body? So let's talk about this just IBS dead end. It's that feeling you get when a doctor hands you a diagnosis that feels more like a label for your suffering than a path to actually getting better. You're basically told to manage it, to live with it, but almost never how to solve it. And this is why the perspective of an expert like Kelsey Essink is such a game changer. Her entire approach is built on this one powerful idea. These symptoms are not your destiny. She truly believes that for most people, if they get the right kind of support, these issues can be seriously improved, or in many cases, even resolved completely. To get there, though, we have to totally shift our thinking. The key is to understand that the symptoms, the bloating, the pain, all that digestive chaos, they're just downstream signals. They're the end result, not the actual problem. And this breaks it down perfectly. You've got two different approaches here. The path most people are on has us just chasing symptoms. We take something for bloating, we avoid foods that cause pain, right? But the root cause approach looks upstream. It asks, why is the bloating happening in the first place? Could it be a gap in your nutrition? Could that pain actually be connected to a stressed out nervous system? It's a complete shift in where you look for answers. So what does looking upstream even mean? Well, it's a full-on investigation. A practitioner like Essink does a really deep dive into your entire health picture. We're talking medical history, labs, medications, and yeah, of course, nutrition. But also how you move, how you sleep, and how you handle stress. Because your gut doesn't exist in a bubble. It's connected to literally everything else. And that brings us to what might be one of the most important and most overlooked pieces of this entire puzzle: the incredible connection between your gut and your brain. It's a two-way superhighway, and it has a massive impact on how you feel every single day. What this means is that things like chronic stress or not getting enough quality sleep, they aren't just in your head. They cause real physical changes in your gut. They can change your gut motility, the health of your intestinal lining, even the types of bacteria that live in there. Your nervous system can actually get stuck in sympathetic overdrive. That's your body's fight or flight mode. And when that happens, it's pretty much impossible for your gut to do its main job: rest, digest, and heal. And check this out. This shows just how powerful that connection really is. Research from a huge meta-analysis shows that gut-directed psychological therapies, we're talking things like CBT specifically designed for the gut-brain connection, can be just as effective as first-line medications for IBS. Let that sink in for a second. Working on your nervous system can have the same level of impact as a prescription drug. That's wild. So, all of this leads to a pretty fundamental question. If your nervous system and all these other things are involved, then what even is IBS? Well, it turns out that a lot of the time, it's just a placeholder, a label that's hiding the real and often treatable culprits. Okay, here's a key term you need to know. IBS is what's called a diagnosis of exclusion. All that means is that a doctor has run tests to rule out other big, specific diseases, and this label is what's left. It perfectly describes a cluster of symptoms, but it tells you absolutely nothing about what's causing them. And here's what might actually be going on. Research shows that underneath that big, vague IBS umbrella, you often find very specific, very treatable conditions. For example, a whole lot of people with diarrhea-predominant IBS might actually have something called bile acid malabsorption. Others could have SIBO, which is basically when you have the wrong kinds of microbes growing in the wrong part of your intestine. These aren't life sentences. They're real problems with real solution. Okay, so if the goal is to find and treat that root cause, what does the path forward actually look like? A lot of people assume it means a lifetime of crazy strict diets, but that is a huge misconception. I love this quote from Kelsey Essink. It totally reframes the goal. It's not about being perfect. It's not about punishing yourself with a diet you hate. It's about being a detective for your own body, learning what it uniquely needs, and then building habits that you can actually stick with for the long haul. And this is so important when we talk about things like the low FODMAP diet. It's not supposed to be a forever thing. It's a short-term learning tool. You eliminate certain things for a little while. Then you go through a structured reintroduction phase to figure out what your specific triggers are. And then, this is the most important part, you use that information to build a personalized, sustainable diet. Because here's the bottom line. The real goal is to expand your diet, not shrink it forever. Staying on a super restrictive diet for too long can actually backfire. It can mess with the diversity of your gut microbiome, and it can create a ton of anxiety around food. The goal is always to get more foods back on your plate, comfortably. And this is really the most hopeful message of all. It's a powerful reminder that your symptoms are not your destiny. The human gut has this incredible ability to heal. With the right kind of personalized support, you absolutely can feel better. You are not stuck. So we'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. What if you stopped seeing your diagnosis as the final word? What if you started seeing it as the first clue? What if this isn't the end of your story, but the beginning of your investigation to find what's really going on?
I stopped trying to find a doctor who would listen, and I did this instead. For years, I was doing everything right. Eating clean, exercising, getting 8 hours of sleep, but I was still exhausted. I had constant brain fog, and my hormones felt completely out of whack. Every doctor told me my labs were normal, and it was probably just stress. I was about to give up until I found Holistic Health. It's a free AI wellness tool trained by functional medicine experts. I spent 5 minutes answering questions about everything: my symptoms, my sleep, my digestion, and it built me this. And this was the light bulb moment. It didn't just give me a list of problems, it connected the dots. It showed me how my gut health was likely impacting my hormones and how that was causing the fatigue and the brain fog. It even gave me a clear list of potential root causes, supplements to research, and even the specific lab tests to ask for. Its tip is secure. Over 77,000 people have used it, and it's 100% free to get your blueprint. If you feel like you're not being heard, start here. Understand your body first and then decide your next step.